So this is the long drive. It's a weird little randomly generated road trip simulator. Yeah, set in some kind of abandoned desert world, as you can see out the window there. So we've got a car in the garage here, and we're looking to prep that. I got no idea what this is. Oh, and it's got a janky Unity physics for the hands. That's a fun point. Yeah, so I don't know a lot about cars. So this will be a fun time. Oh, we can crank this. What? What is this? Oh god, what is happening to his wrist? Oh, it's a music box. Oh. And a hanging piece of dog poo under the table. Well, let's see what's in the garage here. Well, I know what that is. That's a light. Yep. Kind of dirty car magazine, an air freshener. That'll be important. Can we snag this? Yes, we can snag the air freshener. That will definitely be important. Gotta put it right up there by the mirror. I don't expect many people will be coming in here since I just posted this on Twitter. Kind of abruptly, even though I did schedule this. Is this an oil can? What is this? Spray paint? Kinda looks like spray paint. Yep. Maybe we can paint some of the rust off this car here. It doesn't look like it. But we can get an ugly orange hood, maybe. Yes. Nice little reddish brown hood there. I like the look of that. Let's throw that away. Binoculars. It's a BB gun. It's a Hungarian BB gun. Gonna maybe put that in the hotbar somewhere. What the heck? If there's anybody out there with me today, please let me know if the audio is bothering you in any way, and I'll try to fix it. And also, if you're there, how are you doing? Get a little sight picture on this little BB rifle here. Actually, wait a second. Is my OBS screwed up? No. No, we're good. Twitch is just lying to me. Alright, so how do we load this thing? Ah, okay. Let's see if we can hit that pack of cigarettes. Nope. Okay, so it does fly out of the barrel. Not where the crosshair is pointing. I have no idea where that one landed. get a better picture on this. Maybe. Jam it into her face a little bit. Well, this doesn't seem like a very point-and-shoot operation. But it'll have to work. Alright, so how do we check how much gas is actually in this thing? Probably think about getting in the car and driving soon. It's like we got an oil gauge right there, speedometer, battery maybe. I got no idea what the hell this thing is. This looks like light controls. So I don't see a fuel gauge on this. Where even is the fuel port in this thing? What the fuck is... Oh my god. Please. Oh, there's... I've been forgetting to put the bullet in it. Please go away, little bunny. Maybe... Ooh. Looks like it died slamming itself into the window there. Old janky physics rabbit. Weird. Right, so the fuel port on this car, where is it? It's not where I'd expect it to be on an American car. Like we got a trunk in the back. Maybe we gotta pour fuel straight into the engine. Now that's the oil tank. Is there even a fuel tank in this car? What the heck? Coolant, oil. Other side of the coolant tank. Huh. I am at a loss here. Almost looks like there's no fuel tank in this car. Maybe that's what... No, no way. Yeah, because that's not fuel tank shaped, is it? No. I don't see a fuel line either. Unless this is it. Which would suggest that the fuel tank is on this side of the car. Water, gas. Maybe the car will just run. And we can figure this out later when it's a problem. Now, I'm wondering what the I am thinking that this car might work out of the box. So we're just gonna shove that gas can in there in the back here and get rolling. Where'd I put it? There it is. Open these giant barn doors. Try to put it in reverse. And it's not moving. Okay, what kind of problem do we got here? Parking brake? Is it the parking brake? Yes. Yes. Yes, it was the parking brake. We had left the parking brake on. Alright. So, now that we're on the road, for anybody joining me in chat, how are you doing today? That took a little longer than I had thought it might. And this car seems kind of slippery for the road to be this windy. Might have to do some off-roading in this thing where it can actually drive straight since the road seems kind of slick. Anyways, we're just going to be talking about road trips and travel and mechanical things today. So can any of you in chat remember your first road trip? I can remember mine. My first road trip was up to Seattle. We were visiting California and decided to go up to Seattle. It only took a couple days to get up there. We stopped in Portland and visited a very tall library there. They have a library skyscraper kind of deal where it's like, I think it's like 10 floors of books. I remember grabbing a science fiction book as a souvenir. We skid off that turn there, full speed. How fast are we going? 120 kilometers per hour. Seems kind of fast. Ooh, what's this? Another car. Slam the handbrake. Saw a bunny back there. Car's making a clicking noise even though I turned it off. Motorcycle? Bicycle? Anyways, so we were in Portland. We went to this really tall library, and the parking there was so awful. I tell you. It's downtown Portland, right? I'm gonna get this box out of the way, maybe. Nope. So it's downtown Portland, and they had hollowed out some kind of apartment building and converted it into a parking facility. Nice television there. So this hollowed out apartment building parking facility. Is that a gold bar? What the heck? Just gonna ignore those dolls. So this hollowed out apartment building parking facility, doodad, there was barely room to maneuver in there. It was like a spiral. You know how sometimes they have little switchbacks in parking garages? Oh, wing mirror. So they have little switchbacks in parking garages, right? So this place was nothing but switchbacks. It was a straight curly Q spiral from the top to the bottom. No brakes. And it was only wide enough for one car to go up or down at a time, and there was absolutely no signaling for whether or not a car was going up or down. So we were going up to find parking, just as another car was going down, so we had to reverse down this really not well-fitted parking garage spiral. And it was just nightmarish. It was like we were 2 or 3 floors up in that parking garage, and it just wasn't cooperating. I think we bonked into a wall trying to get down from there. I know this game has a sleep feature, and this darkness is probably terrible for the stream. Yeah, there it is. So after Portland, we did wind up, and that's probably a little loud. After Portland, we did wind up going all the way up to Seattle. And Seattle was alright. We actually went up when it wasn't particularly rainy. It was actually really dry and sunny while we were there, and didn't get any storm clouds in the sky at all until we were on the way out. So it's pretty lucky. Let's see if this can mount on the car. Kinda doesn't look like it. Yeah. Can we put this back? Yes, yes we can. Just adjust that a little bit. And don't think there's anything else in this building we want to take with us on our road trip. What the? How do you get crap on top of an outhouse like that? Anyway, so yeah, Seattle was nice. We went to the Space Needle and took a ferry to the island that's across the bay from the place. Got some fudge at both of those places. It was nice. It's just nice. Come on. Yeah, so speaking of travel, the first time I was in a plane, I think I was about 6 or 7 years old. I was flying across the country to Florida to visit some family. And we stayed for about a month and a half maybe, and got hit with I wouldn't call it a hurricane, but it was definitely a storm with high winds. Kinda don't want to check out that place over there. We were sheltering in the living room with the plywood over the windows for a couple hours with the power off. It was kind of comfy. I had a Game Boy with me. If I'm remembering right, I was just playing Zelda and everybody else was freaking out. I said it last stream, but I have absolute trust in aircraft to not fail while they're doing... Pop fly off a rock in the road, and we land on our wheels. Perfect. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Good roll cage on this car. See, flying vehicles, you can trust flying vehicles, planes or cars. The mechanical knowledge that goes into making those things work is really something. Also, abusing physics to make you glide forever. Yeah, that's really nice. There's grass growing out of the road. There's another rock. But boats, oh god, I don't trust boats. Like, I'm a competent swimmer, right? But boats, You ever see what happens in a shipwreck? Where a ship is actually getting pulled underwater, not something like what happened 10 years ago where they just beach it with a gash and everybody manages to get away safe. No, if you shipwreck on open waters, you are well and truly screwed. Because boats, right? Boats are filled with air, right? And you know what air does underwater? It bubbles. And you know what bubbles do to buoyancy of objects in water? Totally destroys buoyancy. You will just fall straight down as if there was nothing below you if you are in a bubbly whirlpool caused by a sinking ship. No amount of swimming can save you, and that's why life jackets exist. But how good is a life jacket when you're being thrashed about in a pool of maritime debris and other people are clawing at your body trying to get air themselves? That's just a nightmarish scenario, and it's like why I don't trust boats. Boats larger than like a little outboard dinghy. Because if it's larger than a little outboard dinghy, odds are you're going places where you're not going to be physically able to swim back to shore. I guess part of that also comes from not having grown up near water at all. In a way that's good for boating anyways. Because I did swim a lot as a kid. Yeah, anyways, I don't trust boats. Stopping at this weird brick tower here. And back to the topic of vehicles. Oh, this is like a grain silo or something. I don't think I can get to the top of this thing. Unless there's a ladder somewhere. Doesn't look like there's a ladder. Back to the topic of vehicles. Bicycles. Bicycles are strange. You know, it took like 40 or 50 years for the bicycle to catch on as a mode of transportation. After it was invented in like 1840. And they used to be called something funny. They used to be called velocipedes. Like veloc, like going fast. Velocity. Pede, like pedal, like travel, like locomotion. I find etymology like that kind of interesting. The road was over here, if I'm not mistaken. Unless we've lost it already. But yeah, velocipedes. Velocipedes and bicycles used to be really strange in that they had many more than 2 wheels sometimes. You could have up to 5 wheels on one of those things. I think we've well and truly lost the road so early in our journey. Now, before I lose it any further... Ah, there it is. Just got turned the wrong way. Yeah, so you'd have like almost like a little carriage with a wheel in front to control where the turning goes. And sometimes levers in the back to control rear wheel steering. Can you imagine that? A 4-wheeled pedal bike with a guide wheel in the front controlled by pedals in the back. Something like that can only come out of the age of steam, where everything's lever operated and gas powered. Now that tower was on the left side of the road, so we're not losing our bearings going the same way. Oh, and bicycles used to have huge wheels too. You probably already knew that, but can you imagine just getting on like a bike with a really huge front tire and that being where the pedals are, and you have to power that manually without like a chain or any kind of gear assist? It's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? But people did it. It's better than walking. In cities, anyways, because back then roads were, roads weren't exactly paved for car travel like this, or for anything else. They were cobbled or brickwork at best. Oh, and that looks like we're out of gas. Let's see how far we can glide. Or will it just start up? Yeah, it looks like it's out of gas. Wonder which one of those is a fuel indicator. Probably the one on the right. So we will have to find out where the gas port is on this car. We did bring a jerry... I know I put a jerry can in the back. Did it fly out somewhere? That would be unfortunate. We're just gliding along here. We're wheelie gliding. Seems like we're actually slightly downhill right here. So this could probably go on for a little bit. Speaking of road-related things, you know Roman roads? The old reliable roads that Europe used for centuries after the fall of Rome? They had mile markers, like we do today. Oh, hey, Zipzorp. Hello, Egg. How's it going? We're running out of gas here. We ran out of gas, and I put a jerry can in the back seat, but it looks like it might have fallen out of the car at some point. Yeah, Roman roads. Yeah, mile markers. They had odometers like we have in our cars to measure mileage, and they just put those in carts and had them drawn by probably mules, donkeys, horses, or carried by hand in some places. And they just kind of dropped stones and marked them for every mile. Yeah, I don't know where or what, but I think there's a museum with a replica odometer card. Roman odometer card. Kinda looks like we're mostly out of power here, so I'm gonna pop the brake. Try to find where the... See, because I don't see a spot to really put gas in this car, do you? There's a coolant tank, there's the oil tank that's half full, there's a clicking sound coming from the engine. There's all this junk over here. I'm not a mechanic, really. Oh, it looks like the... Ooh. Oh, you know what? We did hit that. Yeah, this is kind of like Desert Bus. We're just driving through a desert. Desert Bus and my summer car. Yeah, that's a good combination. So we got a spare tire, and I'm noticing that the hood popped off. So the gas can... Oh, there's the gas can. We hit a rock in the middle of the road some miles back, and the car kind of did a flip, almost. I really gotta find where to put the fuel in this thing. And it's not like there's like a fuel door switch like there would be in a modern car. I am 100% sure it was a rock egg. 100% sure. Yeah, and those Roman odometers are kind of a good example of ancient mechanical understanding. Did you know that the Greeks had steam machines? They'd figured out that boiling water creates steam and that you can use that to power things. They had a weird little mechanism that was just like a water pot, and they would suspend it. It had like two faucets that were kind of L-shaped. And they would fill it with water and light a fire under it. If they had an elevator, it was probably hydraulic. Hydraulic elevators were used for the longest time for lifting really heavy things, like ammunition. They were using hydraulic elevators for some of the world's largest cannons in, I want to say like 1860. It was like kind of the height of the Victorian era. They made like 100-ton cannon and mounted it on Malta somewhere. I am still not seeing anywhere to put fuel in this car. I'm trying to look it up and down. Oh. Oh. Fuel tank empty. That is such an odd spot for it. How am I gonna pour this gas in there? Yeah, ancient steam power is a little wacky. They did. I think there was a like a schematic discovered in Greece for. Ooh, I can just fill it like that. Nice. Okay, now we have an empty gas can. Gotta go around and close all the doors. Yeah, there was a schematic in Greece discovered, I think, that was for an automatic door that was powered by steam. Can you imagine being at the height of ancient civilization and your largest concern is how you're going to power a door? Slave labor was cheaper and that's why it didn't catch on. You know what? That makes a little bit of sense. Why have steam powered anything when you could just get like 50 people that weren't considered people to turn a crank? Yeah. I don't know. Steam power is a lot cooler to me. And oh, hello, Waffly. I'm just gonna call you Waffle if that's alright. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. We're just going on a little road trip today, see how long I can last. Yeah, making the contraption would have been crazy expensive, right? Because they didn't have a lot of metallurgical infrastructure like we do today. They didn't have die-cast press, 50-ton hydraulic presses, you know, those kind of things. The things that shaped World War II and how... honestly, shaped how a lot of things are made today. Was that a gas station? Almost missed a gas station. Am I rambling? At least I hope it's a gas station. Because we only got less than probably 2 liters of gas in the car right now. And I just realized this. I forgot to close the fuel door. I'm an awful driver. But yeah, it would have been crazy expensive. It'd be like an artisan work. Everything artisan work, and probably made of bronze. Like hand-worked bronze, not cast bronze or pressed bronze. Speaking of bronze, how often... What the fuck? Yeah, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see that. Speaking of bronze, how often do you see bronze? Yeah, what am I talking about? Exactly, what am I talking about? Ah, shit. These little bunnies are obnoxious. Took care of them handily, though. Pain, Pico. Yeah, as we break our wrist trying to handle this fuel can. See if we can fill it up with one of these. But yeah, it would have been an artisan work. How often do you see bronze these days? Anywhere? Because I can't remember the last time I've seen real bronze. Yeah, like never. It's all brass. If you want the bronzy look, you get brass. I think these fuel pumps are broken. Just a hunch. That's filled with oil. Half a liter of gas. Oh, hello, Lolly. How are you doing today? We're just going on a road trip. I don't think we're gonna get any gas out of these pumps. Yeah. So we'll just take the containers, shove them in the back seat. And speaking of ancient inventions, you know, they had like the Peloponnese Peninsula in Greece. They had a... Oh, that one has oil in it. Maybe we should refill the oil. They had a, like, kind of like a railway almost. It was like a paved path for boats. So they could drag boats across the ground instead of having to sail for a couple days around the entire peninsula. I don't want to drink the oil. There you go. Let's fill her up. Fill her up, get her done. Yeah, those sliding passes, like just smooth stones, sorta. Nothing fancy, but it was pretty unique. So this is some kind of paint can. It's like it's white. Maybe recolor the hood, because that brown's kind of getting to me. Yeah, they just dragged the boat across the land on a track they'd made instead of digging a canal. Because when you think about it, it's a lot easier to lay a bunch of stones and roll them across the stones than it is to dig out an entire trench capable of fitting a boat. What is this? Like a car speaker? Weird. I think this was alcohol. So we're gonna do a big no-no. And drink some alcohol. And then drive. And brake. Yeah, maybe that's a front light, but I don't think it would fit this. It looked a little too big. Bottle might have flown out of the trunk there. I heard a glass crunching sound. Anyways, continuing along this chain of events. Mechanical things. I like mechanical calculators. Have you ever seen a mechanical calculator? Chat? Like either a really big one or a really small one? Because I've seen a really big one and I've seen a really small one. One time I visited a... Oh, you've seen someone try to divide by zero on a mechanical calculator. I don't think I tried that when I was at the Computer History Museum. See, they had a giant mechanical calculator at the Computer History Museum the last time I visited it. And it was like the size of a steam locomotive's engine. So it was really impressive. I forget the upper limit on the calculations, but it could do all the basic operations. And just like seeing all the levers and the like little mechanical bits move around is kind of neat. And then on the other end of the scale, you have little I think they're called pepper grinder calculators. You have these little tiny things that kind of look like pencil sharpeners. And I think they can also add, subtract, multiply, and divide now. And I think they still make them today. Like one place in Germany still makes those little calculators. Hand mechanical calculators. Imagine trying to use one of those and then calculating points on a graph manually instead of using a graphing calculator that's been computerized. Can you imagine how awful that would be? How long it would take you? We're totally spoiled by technology in that regard. But wrapping back around to the Greeks. The Greeks had a... it was discovered, I think, about 100 years ago. In the... Oop! Rock out of nowhere there, sending us on a careening journey. Car rights itself. What did we lose? We lost a door. Lost a door, spare tire. Let's see if we can shove the door back on. Oh, this kind of looks like the wrong door, doesn't it? Oh, there it goes. You've had to do some physical land surveying before where you had someone with a giant pole to give you elevations and people back then had it rough. Yeah, I think that's still done in England. I think they still do that in England where they go around and take physical survey markings instead of trying to use digital markers. Now I know we had a second gas can. This is the one that had oil in it. We had an empty one. Thought I saw it. Is that? No, that's the rock we hit. Yeah, it is definitely easier with technology and digital surveying. Shove that wheel back where it belongs. Oh, there's the other gas can. Let's try not to hit another one of those rocks. Anyways, yeah, back 100 years or so ago, in the Ionian Sea, the sea that Greece surrounds, that little inland sea inside of the Mediterranean, like an encapsulated inland sea. There's like 3 or 4 nested inland seas inside the Mediterranean. It's kind of weird. But anyways, inside the Ionian, they found a, I think it was bronze work. What they called an analog computer. You can look it up with the name Antikythera mechanism. And it's got a lot of intricately made metal parts. Yes, that one. That one's absurd. And people speculated that it was used for astronomy, like astronomical calculations. Because before the Greeks, the Fertile Crescent civilizations, mostly the Babylonians and Sumerians, paid a lot of attention to the sky. And a little bit of historical nerd connection there for you. Those same astronomical calculations are where we get our 360-ish day calendar, our 360-degree circles, and basically everything that seems like it's based on the number 12 or 360. I can go into that a bit more detail in a later stream. I'd have to do some more reading up on it, because it's been a while since I looked into that. And ooh, Egg, you saw an awesome channel of a guy rebuilding the Antikythera mechanism. Ooh. I'm gonna have to ask you for a link for that later, because that sounds right up my alley. I really like historical stuff, like historical documentaries, especially ancient history. And just little... Ooh, you'll tweet me it. Ooh, cool, thanks. Especially little historical fact for you. The Roman Empire mostly fell because of internal corruption and external migration. And by external migration, I mean roving bands of barbarians and some settled clans. Is this a functional gas station? Kinda looks like it. The gears screeching as we put it into reverse. Yikes. But yeah, what they called barbarians migrating in to Rome. Rome's imperial borders. And consistent monetary inflation and public corruption. All brought about the end of the Roman Empire more so than any big single event ever did. This pump's also busted. Maybe there's gas somewhere in here. Little basket, that's kind of cute. Some wing mirrors. This place has got electricity. Ah, yes, we don't talk about those. We do ask the question, how did this get on the roof? How did all of this excrement get on the roof of an outhouse? Ah ha ha ha. Hidden gas can. It's got gas in it. Always check the roof of gas stations. That's where they keep all their gas, apparently. Take another gas can for the road. Yeah, I'm not gonna try too hard to get up there again. Got a little bit more gas in us. Let's hit the road again. Anyways, back to mechanics. Trains. I've always been interested a little bit in trains. I almost thought about being a... Oh, thank you, Zipsword. I'll check that out after the stream. Anyways, trains. I thought about being a train conductor for a while. Do any of you in chat have any experience with trains? Like the chugga chugga choo choo kind? I was kind of a little sad today to me that most trains are diesel or electric or diesel electric. Oh, you live by some rail tracks, huh? That's neat, egg. Humor is allowed here. Bazooka Poe, you're welcome here. Humor or not, just exercise common sense. You're still using charcoal, Lolly. Oh no! Are you trapped in Argentina? Unless you mean charcoal-powered trains. Because if so, that's kind of neat. I really like steam engines. Diesel electric trains are cool, they have more torque, more power, but they don't have the same charm that a steam engine does. Oh, it's only a really small rail network? What kind of gauge is the rail? Is it like narrow gauge British rail, or is it like wide gauge rail? Yeah, diesel electric trains lack soul. There's no love in a diesel electric train. And you know what they say, without love it cannot be seen. Oh, you keep the little trains for tourism. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, is this nighttime wind audio destroying your ears, or do I have it balanced out right? A cow got hit before on the train tracks. No! That's not nice! Cows shouldn't be hit by trains. See, that's one thing India gets right, is they always try to keep the cows off of the train tracks so that the trains don't injure the cows. Although talking about India's treatment of cows is another topic entirely. It reminds you of the Thomas the Tank Engine story about the author not liking new trains. Ah, I see. Oh no, Aries lurking. Oh. Calling her out like that, that's a little mean-spirited. I'll let it slide. It's everybody's right to lurk if they want to. They know nobody has to chat. So chat, who do you think would win in a fight? A car? Or a tiger? Do you think a tiger could beat up a car? Yeah, car versus tiger. And train-wise, you don't know much besides hearing them when they go by your window? Yeah. There's a train horn around here that blows so often. I don't live particularly close to train tracks. We're going downhill and we don't have a lot of gas, so we'll just coast here. No engine sounds. A tiger. You think a tiger would win, Lolly? How do you think a tiger would beat up a car? Do you think they'd be able to pummel the sheet metal to a point where the car was no longer drivable? Or bust a fuel line so it couldn't get any fuel to the engine? And Egg, you think a car would win. How do you think a car would win? Tigers have a lot of meat on them. They can get pretty heavy, and they're pretty strong. It's a lot of muscle. Yeah, the tigers are heavy. But if it's like a stationary car, the car just needs to make the tiger tired without getting incapacitated itself. Yeah, but if there was somebody in the car driving it, they could just ram the tiger. But deer are much lighter than tigers, and you know what happens when a big, heavy deer, right, hits a car moving even at like 30 or 40 miles an hour. Awful things happen to the deer, but worse things happen to the car. Like, the deer becomes a chunk. This is getting a little brutal. Honestly, I'll skip over most of the details, but oftentimes there are busted windshields and people in the front seat have either had airbags go off on them, or they find themselves covered in shards of glass and generally beaten up by the sheer impact of hitting a several hundred-pound animal. And then nature would win out by infection. You know, that's a good point, Zipzart. Cars can't get infected. In fact, cars don't need to eat. Although they do consume gas. You know, that might be a good basis for a riddle. What consumes without flesh and travels faster than a cheetah? That's a little too simple, come to think of it. Although there's a good grain there. You'd think of a good riddle, maybe. Seeing another structure here. Maybe there's some gas here. Always thinking about putting more gas in the car. Anyways, back to trains. I really like steam engines. Oh, you have more to say on nature, Zipzor. Sorry. That's why nature is so dangerous that even the most minor of wounds can kill, since the lack of medicine means that infections are GG. Yeah. Yeah, I'd really not want to be a... It's like there's stuff in here. Just gotta get inside. Now score, a real door. Jerry can full of blood. Yeah, trains can't get sick. And that's a good thing. Because if we had trains that were taking sick days, nobody would get anywhere. Gas, oil, and diesel. Oh god, why would you mix these things together? Empty, empty, paint. A 10-liter bucket full of alcohol, water, and blood. Oh god, what happened here? I'm getting sidetracked from my getting sidetracked. Drunk vampire. Yes! A vampire. This is clearly a vampire's lair. Or a vampire came here and decided that it would be a good idea. Oh, there's some gas. Conveniently next to this window that we can throw the container out of. Can we? No, that looks like a solid wall. Unfortunate. We're gonna have to figure out how to deal with this pile of junk. Yeah, anyways, steam trains, very cool. Thought about becoming a conductor for one, but declined it because the, for the first few years, it's like a seniority thing, right? So if you're starting out, you're obviously at a disadvantage for a long time. So there was a vampire. You were right. Somebody's turned the vampire into a little ornament. Yeah, I live in the United States. Trains are mostly used for freight, and they're diesel electrics, but there are still a few steam trains circulating around. I'm gonna pin this little guy right there. I think most of the steam trains in the States that are still in operation or in operational condition are either in museums or operating in Southern California. Yeah, the train, like the rail map in the United States is like a spider web. If you like maps like that, easier ones to find are like maps of river networks in the United States. Because and elsewhere in the world too, because watersheds are fractal, like trees are fractal. We're just gonna drink the blood out of this gas can. No way that can backfire. But yeah, watersheds are fractal like trees are fractal. And if you know anything about fractals, they're really cool because it's like repeating patterns. Like infinitely repeating patterns. Except nature has this really fun way of working with them where they don't actually repeat infinitely or predictably. It's like small changes in the environment will cause different effects to happen that make it variable in a way that's both randomly ugly and also pleasing to look at in how abnormal it is. Ooh, there's gas in this bottle. Can't let that go to waste. Bye-bye, bottle. Served your purpose. Yeah, you keep zooming in on river forks on those kinds of maps, and you see more forks and more forks until you get all the way up to the streams and springs that come out of the ground where the water comes from. Yeah. Speaking of natural patterns, you ever look at the side of a canyon or a cliff? This isn't like really esoteric knowledge, but the layers in like sedimentary rocks, I find those like really cool. I wonder if I can replace one of these rusted doors with this door. Kinda looks like it'd fit. Ah, nice. Nice cherry red door there. Throw out this rusted sack of junk. Yeah, erosion effects and seeing all the different layers. Mostly, it's like different geological ages. You see one layer, it's like 20 feet tall, right? That doesn't seem like much, but that's thousands and thousands of years of geology at work. I think that's really nice. See, why couldn't we have a car with a very clear fuel tank like this? It took me so long to figure out that the fuel was in the back. That's just so weird. Wonder if this is a boot door. A trunk door. Because we need a new trunk door. Well, it attaches. Doesn't look like it fits, but it's better than stuff flying out the back. And Egg, you say it's also interesting how you can see the rates of erosion being different, showing when was a wet time period versus a dry time period. That's a good point. But especially for... This looks like a light bar for the front. Especially for canyons, like the Grand Canyon, that are caused by water erosion and sedimentary functions. It's more of like a historical record of what's happened in the rocks versus just a water history kind of thing. And that's kind of interesting. But if you go out into the middle of the Arizona desert, then yeah, almost everything there is going to be a like a water history. You can see how the water shapes the land there, just because of how scarce water is in the desert. A nice fancy new headlight mount on the front of the car, looking snazzy. just looking for bullets, popping that open, seeing if there's a spare bullet in there. I don't know what this is. Yeah, so chat, how do you feel about carbonated drinks while we're on the topic of wet things? Do you think the carbonation adds to a drink, or would you rather it just not be there at all? Oh, you don't drink soda egg. I was like that for the longest time. I don't typically drink soda. But when I do, it's like fruit soda that's made with sugar instead of corn syrup. It took me like 15 or 16 years of my life to get over carbonation in drinks. It always just felt weird to me, and it was super awkward. People would offer me drinks all the time, and it's just like, I have to say no thanks. Do you have water? Do you have apple juice or something? Fancy new front bumper instead of this rusted out piece of crap. Getting a lot of nice cosmetic upgrades to this car here. And drag this out of here. Oh, the carbonation doesn't bother you. Yeah, the carbonation doesn't bother me so much anymore. It's just like, it didn't become a habit because I didn't drink it as a kid. And you know, I mentioned in a previous stream I used to work in a tea shop, and one of the weirdest things I'd ever seen is people that walk into a tea shop and they tell me that they've never drank water in the past like 5 years of their life. Speaking of them, I need a sip here, one moment. Yeah, hydrate. I'm hydrated. So people just walk into this tea shop and they've never, in the past 5 or 6 or even 10 years of their life, they've just been drinking Mountain Dew. They haven't been drinking water. They're just drinking that like My friend at the tea shop called it carbonated chemical crap. Triple C. Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy. I don't know how somebody could do that. They just like never drink a nice cup of water in their life for years. So this is mostly gas. Wonder if we can just put the gas in the fuel there. Oh, nope. 6% oil. Oil in the fuel tank. Bad news. Chuck that. Yeah, CCC. Carbonated chemical crap. I don't know how somebody could drink Mountain Dew for 6 years straight. And it's like they come into the tea shop looking for tea to help their bodies, but like the thing that would help their bodies most would be to just stop drinking so much corn syrup. Get some actual water in there. Oh no, this is a front door, not a rear door. There's the mount. There it is. Nope. There it is. Gonna have to spend another day taking all the crap out of this garage, putting it on the car. Since we just slept in the game here, why don't we talk about dreams for a bit? I had a dream last night that I woke up inside a dark box and got dragged out of it. And it was like, you know how in morgues they have those boxes in the walls where they put the bodies for storage? It was one of those. I dreamt I was in one of those and got pulled out alive onto a morgue slab for like dissection or something, and they put a knife to my chest and I just woke up. Yeah, the wall slab things. I always call them slabs. But they're not really slabs so much sometimes as they are bins. We're just gonna put this thing that's really heavy and hard to move on top of this other thing that's really heavy and hard to move. This looks like another front door, front left door. Yeah, if I'm alive, it's a vivisection. That's odd. These doors are the same cherry red, but it's like they're for different car models. Wonder how our front door compares. Oh, our front door is much bigger. Yeah, so it's kind of square and a little big, so this would probably be too small for it. Yeah, that just looks weird. Same paint at the factory. Yeah, if these came from the same door factory. Actually, this is like a super cherry red, and this is more like a muted red. This is like... I don't have a good word for this, but there's like a fruit that gets this red shade really easily. I think it's like a tropical fruit. But not dragon fruit, because dragon fruit gets a little more purple pinky. Yeah, maybe it's missing the gloss. This looks like a hood. We already have a hood, though. So did any of you in chat have any nice dreams last night? Preferably ones where you weren't having obscene medical procedures performed on you. And speaking of obscene medical procedures, I'm sure most of you know what a lobotomy is. I'm wondering if anywhere in the world still performs lobotomies. And if so, for what purpose? Like, just why would you open somebody's skull and then, with a drill and then take part of their brain out? You think you should be keeping a dream journal egg? Yeah. Sometimes it's like that for me too, where I fall asleep and just wake up, no dreams. But when I do have dreams, sometimes they stick around for just a couple seconds in my mind, sometimes they stick around for half an hour, sometimes they stick around for the whole day. And sometimes I just get the highlights. Dreaming is really, really nice. I like dreaming, and I wish that I had more memorable dreams more often. This also looks like the wrong shape of door for the car. Oh, is this a music box? Oh, that's cute. That's a cute little music box. Alright, so most of what the rest is in this garage here looks kind of like junk, but there was a container in the back here that had gas in it. Wonder if this says... Oh, that's oil, gas, diesel. It's like it's just a giant oil tank. There's one of these yellow ones. Try to shove it through the window. Probably this one. Yep. So we'll just fill this up, do another once over, see if there's any good gasoline we missed, and then get back on the road. What the? Okay, that's another music box, it looks like. Empty. Diesel bucket. Propane. I think these were all water bucket. What is this? That's a car stereo. Alcohol. Okay. Wonder what that is. Water, alcohol, alcohol, oil, and jizz on it. Yeah, you know what? We'll take a can of jizz on it. Why not? Alright, didn't find a replacement for this rusty-ass door. But that's alright. Here's something on the wind. That is not how you open a car door. Yeah, I got another who would win in a fight question for you. Do you think a bear could beat a cheetah? Because, you know, bears... Oh yeah, bears are really powerful. They just need to get one good hit on the cheetah, and that cat frame is good as done. And back to mechanics for a second. How do you feel about Rube Goldberg machines? You know, those really overcomplicated domino effect kind of machines that usually just send a ball into a cup or something like that. I kind of like those a lot. Because despite being useless, they can be pretty interesting in the solutions they come up with. Especially if they're restricted to using only certain types of simple machines. OK Go has a cool music video with a Rube Goldberg machine. Ooh. I think I've heard them before. Might have to go look for that. Oh, and I'm just remembering the name of that weird Greek steam device that I mentioned earlier. It's called an aeolipile. Spelling for that, I think, is A-E-O-L-I-P-I-L-E. Aeolipile. And I haven't mentioned this before, but I used to be really good with spelling bees. Although it prevented me from really getting into that as like an academic thing as a kid. Was... Oop. What the heck just happened to the engine? Oop, that's probably the engine chugging the 6% oil that found its way into the gas tank. My gosh. The Great Lego Ball Contraption. I think I've seen some videos of that. You know, that because it's motorized, you can do a lot more with it than you can with a standard Rube Goldberg machine, where the only force in the system is potential energy and like springs and bands and gravity, and what you put into it by flicking the ball at the start. But yeah, that co-op Lego Goldberg machine is kind of interesting. I haven't seen it in a while, but I think it was at the I did go to a Lego, not really a convention. Good lord, what is happening with the engine? I did go to like a kind of mini convention several years back. Okay, you know what? This is downhill. I'm not liking how that engine sounds. So we're just gonna coast. So I went to a little Lego convention kind of dealio. Also, how's the bitrate? How's the bitrate for the stream? Because my little tracker's telling me that it might be a little screwed up right now. Oh, it looks good? Okay, that's fine. I might just have my cap way higher than it needs to be. So it's bouncing around instead of sitting at the cap. Now, where were we? Lego convention, right. I went to a Lego convention a couple years back. Not really so much a convention, so much as a showcase of different builds people had done. It's kind of dorky, but it was a good time. And I saw surprisingly, I saw a lot of familiar faces there, like people from. I am half tempted to stop the car and check the gas tank, see how much oil really got put in there. I'm hoping we can just burn it off. But I saw a lot of people from my private life at that Lego convention. That was a little interesting to me because I didn't expect to see those people outside of like a professional environment. Something is definitely wrong with this engine, so we might swap out to a different car in the next one we find. Anyways, back to travel stories. Have any of you in chat ever been anywhere tropical? I've only been to a tropical place once in my life, unless you count Florida. And that was on a trip to Hawaii. I remember there was like a little trivia game. The captain had a bag of macadamia nuts he didn't want or something. So he had a little trivia game where he was giving away a bag of macadamia nuts. I don't remember what the questions were, but I do remember that my sibling, my sister, answered correctly enough to win us the macadamia nuts, so that was nice. Get to Hawaii with a bag of macadamia nuts, step off the plane, and have somebody put a lei around your neck. And I remember we didn't go to the Big Island. Oh, how nutty were the questions! That's a good pun, Egg. Sounds like the engine's doing a little better now. Ran straight over a rock in the road. Doesn't look like we lost anything, though. And if that's a serious question on top of a pun, I don't recall the questions being too difficult, or I might have remembered them. Although this was about a dozen years ago. What is that? Looks like a big building that has a sky bridge over the road, all the way out here in the middle of the desert. Yeah, maybe it's a prison. Kinda looks like a prison. When the game spawns in a giant bus right in front of us. Nice. That definitely caused a little bit of stutter for me. Let's just drive around the bus and park the car. Might have to drive around the whole building. Sounds like something's leaking. Did I forget to close the fuel door? Might have. Oh, and you know what? That's funny. There's a town a couple hours away that I like to visit when I have the time. And one time on the way back from... Yeah, I did forget to close the fuel door. Shame. Shame on me. One time on the way back from visiting that town, I had stopped for gas at night, and there was this kindly old woman in a little sedan, right? She was on the phone. She was filling up her car at the gas pump, and she was driving away with the fuel cap open on her car. It was on a string attached to the fuel door itself. So she didn't lose it, but I ran almost out of the parking lot after her, just to tell her that she had almost lost her fuel cap there. She was driving away with an open fuel tank. That wouldn't have been nice. Water pump there, a bed. Nice. Different back seat for the car, should we want it. And you know, this doesn't look like a prison so much now that we're inside it. Almost looks more like some kind of air traffic control building. Just yoink that gas there. Good enough. Another music box. Some kind of wing mirror. Air traffic. You wonder if this game has giant concrete arrows. What do you mean by giant concrete arrows, Egg? I am hoping to God that this bloody arm is just a mannequin arm. Kind of looks like a mannequin arm. We're just gonna pretend that that's a mannequin arm. We didn't see anything. Nothing. You know what you saw? You saw nothing. There was nothing there. Pity. Ah, the classic door to nowhere. Yeah, you ever see those... Yeah, like this. You ever see those doors on the sides of houses that just open out into nothing, and there's, like, no evidence that there was ever a landing or a staircase for the door? Why do those exist? Why are those there? In the wild, there are huge arrows so people can fly when communication fails. You know, you're half right there. I've never seen an actual giant concrete marker. I've been flying before in small aircraft, mostly like a Piper Archer from the late 80s. I think. Can't quite remember the model. But there's nothing like that. There are landmarks for sure, like bridges, lakes, other airfields, but I've never seen a giant concrete arrow on the ground. What is this? Oh, it's like a glove compartment door. Weird. Oh, you've got pictures for this? I'd love to see them. It's not that I don't believe you, it's just I find that kind of far-fetched. Maybe it's a thing out in the sticks in Canada. Because I've never seen giant concrete arrows in the United States. Oop, falling off the building there. Yeah, and speaking of like civilian flight stuff, it's kind of weird these days. Because it's like, it's as affordable as it's ever been, which is, you know, not saying much. But, it's like there was some kind of airline pilot shortage that was predicted to begin around this year, or last year. And it's kind of funny how events played out that became totally irrelevant as air travel has mostly cascaded into something that rarely happens in civilian life. for a variety of reasons. Reasons that I won't get into for fear of being too controversial in my opinions. But yeah, for a while I was considering a career as an airline or a cargo pilot. And I eventually decided against that because of the travel. Just the travel associated with the job. Sometimes it's pretty good, but again, it comes down to seniority, like with the train conductor thing. It's that you're flying all the jobs nobody else wants to fly. For years. And the pay doesn't reflect that until you're flying the good jobs. See, I've always thought seniority systems like that were a little strange and outdated. But sometimes that's just how the world works. And yeah, a lot of niche jobs are like that, especially trades. In fact, the only job field that I can think of off the top of my head that doesn't work on seniority is, like, tech and science. And, you know, there's some seniority in play with deciding who gets to be a manager of what department and in what capacity, but there's not anything as blatant as you're not allowed to take this route because all the people that have been here for 20 years like this route too much. There's nothing as blatant as that in technology or science. Yeah, and they get away with it because of how few people are into it. Yeah. It's like, oh, you want to do this as a job? Well, yeah, tough luck. Play by our rules. Yeah, that kind of thing. I'm not a fan of that kind of thing. I'm hearing the engine sparking a little bit. I'm hoping that means that the oil's mostly running out of it. Seniority isn't everything, but it's not the only blatant deciding factor. Yeah. Holy moly, that engine's getting loud. Is that engine volume alright for you? Should I turn it down? Yeah, the only thing worse than blatant seniority is blatant nepotism. Speaking of technology, and while we're driving a car here, have any of you in chat ever been in a Tesla car? Or any other electric car, for that matter? I got to ride in a Tesla once by personal connection to somebody that worked there. And they're quite comfortable. They're, yeah, they are almost silent. They're silent to the point now that they have to have artificial noise produced by them so that motorists and pedestrians aren't blindsided by the cars coming out of nowhere at speed. It's like they are as soft as the quietest computer fan you've ever heard, basically. But it's also kind of a fun point because you can put like fake Ferrari noises onto one. Nothing like driving in the middle of nowhere. You said it, Arya. We're just going on a little road trip today. Ah, this is mostly oil, and if 5%, 4% now, 4% oil is doing all that to the engine. I don't want to put that in the car. Wonder what this is. What is this? Oh, it's a compass. Ooh, it's like a pressure compass. Oh, interesting. Wonder if I can rotate this so that north is up. Just pin it on the dash, like. You sit down and pin it on the dash. That'll work. We'll just pretend that we are already pointed north. That's like an aeronautic compass, almost. And see, this gas pump looks pristine, but the frickin' pump handle is rusted out, so we're not getting any gas out of that. And there's something at the bottom of this well there, but I don't exactly have a way to get out of it. This is just a barrel full of oil, so I don't think there's anything else here for us for this, so let's get back on the road. And brake. Always forgetting the handbrake. That's nice, we got a compass now. Yeah, so let's think. What else have I got to talk about today? Do I know where I'm going? No. That's the beauty of it. We're just going down this long, empty road. It's just real road trip hours here. If I wanted to know where I was going, I'd probably be playing a trucking simulator. And if memory serves, there's a very small amount of demand for trucking simulators, so I might just do that at some point. Or Desert Bus. Oh god, I cannot imagine Desert Bus playing Desert Bus. Desert Bus is like a beauty of a crap game. Yeah, my summer car would be a better scuffed car simulator. But Desert Bus is like... Desert Bus would be a real challenge for me, specifically. Since I'm still getting used to talking on stream like this. See, I'm already mostly dry in the head. My brain's a little bit fried right now. I'm just looping back to mechanics a little bit again. How much do you guys know about clock making? Somebody made a VR Desert Bus area? What? That's insane. It's like, how long is it again? It's like 4 hours, right? It's like 4 hours of pretending you're driving a bus that has its alignment tilted to the right. Eight hours, oh no, oh gosh. That would be awful. I don't think I could talk for... I can barely talk for 2 hours straight, let alone 8 hours. I don't know how some people do it. I don't know how you do it, Area. I don't know how you do it, Egg. I'm guessing it's just lots of practice. Oh yeah, you gotta drive back, so it's 4 hours one way, right? Thankfully, in this game here, we don't have to drive back. We just gotta keep going forward. But yeah, clock making. How much do you folks in the chat know about clock making? Like making little watches and the mechanics behind clocks. Before everything was driven by, oh, nothing. Oh, good. I might be able to impart some information then. So, before everything was driven by little electric motors and batteries, clocks used to be all spring work and gears. The sun's blinding me here. That helps a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So, things used to be driven by coiled springs. Those clocks and watches used to be driven by coiled springs, and that would hold the tension in a watch and keep it ticking, thanks to gears driven by the spring. And everything was just timed mechanically. So if you had a little bit of drift, it was your spring getting a little less taut than it should be. And that's why you used to have to wind clocks. Ooh, blindsided by the bus. Let's see, is there a light switch here? There ought to be a light switch. There we go. Oh, did a tire pop off? I can't quite tell if a tire popped off. Oh, yeah, but for pendulum clocks, like grandfather clocks, standing clocks, that sort of thing, those pendulums actually don't have much to do with the... Ooh. Bashed my head on the steering wheel a little bit, looks like. Yeah, we did lose a tire. Those pendulums, I don't think they have much to do... We lost 2 tires, alright. I don't think the pendulums have too much to do with the actual mechanical operation of the clock. They're more of a metering mechanism for how fast the internals operate than any winding. Oh, can I not get this wheel put back on? Uh-oh. We might be in trouble. Come on. Might have just shoved the wheel in the engine compartment. Yep. I don't know where that wheel went. That wheel is gone. Maybe there's one on the bus here. Nope. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there are some blow-up dolls around here. I'm not paying them much mind. Alcohol, oil, no gas. Maybe there's a tire inside of the bus. if I can open one of these sets of doors. Doesn't look like it. Well, this is turning out to be a pretty unfortunate crash here. It even looks like it knocked an instrument free of the panel. Oh, you know what? The tire's fine. I think it's the hub. It doesn't like the hub. Yeah, the hub's blown. That's a shame. Alright. Oh, right, we have a spare in the back. How fortunate. I'd almost forgotten about it. Yes, there we go. And I guess we'll take the, since the tire's fine, we'll put the tire and the hubcap in the back. Just leave the busted hub at the side of the road there. Or in the middle of the road, somebody else can drive over it. Little disconcerting seeing all these abandoned places. Yeah, you know what? I don't pay it too much mind. Because, not having a lot of people around, sometimes those are the, best moments I've experienced, just being alone out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, and we have this, Braby gun. Maybe next time we stop we can clean up the blood off the dash. Yeah, I wouldn't be too disconcerted driving along a empty desert highway with abandoned buildings at the side of the road, because a lot of the United States is actually kind of like that right now. Oh, the blood gives it soul. Yeah, who doesn't want bloody instruments on their dash? True solitude is nice. Wouldn't have wanted to meet the drunk vampire. Yeah, the drunk vampire would have been an awkward confrontation since all we got's a BB gun. Don't have a stake to stab through its heart or a cross to shove in its face or nothing. Now, speaking of true solitude, when was the last time any of you in chat have had any? I think the last time I had some was, probably last March. I drove out to, well, I wouldn't want to dox myself, so I'll omit the place names, but I drove out west on the highway for about 40 minutes, then there was a town, took a fork south from that town for another 40, 50 minutes. And there's still a lot of snow on the ground, since I was climbing an elevation. But I ended in this nice little state parkland that had some cabins in it, and some hiking trails that were too snowed for me to go up on. But it was totally abandoned, not a single car around anywhere, and no garages either. So there was no chance that anybody had been parked in their garage. And you know, I just stopped at the side of the road. There was a dead tree. Stopped at the side of the road, took a nice picture of the dead tree. Just sat there for a bit. A little brisk, but since it was up in a little bit of a mountain valley, climbing up into the mountains, you could hear the wind whistling over the peaks. And the wind was fast enough that you could actually watch the clouds flying in and out of view over the peaks on either side of the road. Either side of the valley. It was pretty comfortable, and I'd go again. So there's just a whole cherry red car up on this roof. Fascinating. No engine. No nothing. Just a car. Wonder who put it up here. You haven't had any solitude in a while since your life is rather busy and you're always dealing with people every day. Ooh, yeah. It's a sword. There's just a sword lying here. A weeb sword, it looks like. Hello, somebody. How are you doing today? Welcome to the stream. We've been going on a road trip for a while now. We just found this strange sword next to a car on top of that. Pointing. That building right there. Oh, I'm doing alright. Thanks for asking. Just gonna shove this sword in the back seat, I guess. And yeah, Ari, I'm getting used to dealing with people more every day now. Seems a little yeah, okay. So we're turned around a little bit. Aren't we? Well, the heading on the compass looks right. No, the heading on the compass was reading east when we were traveling in the correct direction. But yeah, I'm getting used to dealing with more people every day. I'm kind of coming out of my social shell a bit, and I think it helps not having faces to interact with, just names and text. No, we're definitely going the wrong direction since the telephone poles were on the right side of the road last time. I gotta keep better track of this. Especially since we didn't find any gas in that building. And as we're approaching the 2-hour mark for this road trip here. Oh, you like the dangling rearview mirror items? Yeah, I like the air freshener and the bat. Maybe we'll find another cool one soon. And you know, I have a little rearview mirror item in my actual car. Oh, the tree isn't black ice, you're right. We got strawberry instead. Smells kind of like a sugar dome in here. But yeah, I got a dangly in my real car. It's a vanilla dangly. Kind of looks like a unicorn. And I've always wanted like a pair of those fuzzy dice as a gag item. I think they're tacky as all hell, but they'd be funny to just have, you know? Going quite fast down this hill here, and I think... Okay, that's just grass in the road. If it was a rock, we might have gone flying. Yeah, this is almost a car accident simulator. You slam a rock and you fly off the road. Thankfully, real roads are kept much cleaner than this. I don't know how these rocks are getting on these roads without any cliffs nearby. Because if you've ever been driving up a mountain or driving up a cliff trail, then you would know that sometimes they have to put up little net barriers to keep rocks from falling and sticking on the road. I've always found that kind of highway engineering interesting. Not enough to make a career out of it or do much research into it, but it's interesting enough to comment on. And sometimes they make them out of chains when they want them more permanent. The less permanent ones are usually just like rope net. Or like seasonal landslides after rainfall or something. You know, stuff you can set up quick. That'll just catch the rocks and keep them from blocking the road for too long. Is there any kind of road infrastructure, road-related infrastructure like that that you guys find interesting, chat? You know, like niche infrastructure or bridges. I'm not picky. Although bridges are another thing entirely. Maybe the transmission case in this thing really just hates, like, second gear. Because around, or first gear, I should say, because around 30, 40 kilometers, it just starts chugging and making awful noises. Oh, what happened to the door? Oh my goodness. What is going on here? Well, I think the game just bugged out a little bit there. And that's to be expected. Since this is a kind of an early access title, I should say. Almost at the 2-hour mark. You think we should drive some more? We did 78 kilometers. How much does that translate to in miles? Probably like 50 miles or something. Let me just plug that in there real quick. Yeah, it's almost 50 miles. Yeah, 48, really close. So that took almost 2 hours with some stops to go 50 miles. So I'll say an average speed 24 miles per hour. That's a little pathetic, isn't it? Think we could do better? We were having to stop and look for gas though, so that plays into it. I'm feeling a little bit of fatigue in my voice, so I'm thinking I might call it here. And I do have a sticky note telling me that I should raid somebody this time. Is there anybody that you think be good raid, chat? Let me just check and see here. Anybody you think would be good to raid, chat? Ooh, Mao and Simi are streaming. Oh, are they on Mao's channel? Oh, right, today they're doing their collab today. Yeah, that sounds good. I think we'll raid them. Yeah, so thanks for coming to the stream today. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and enjoy Mao's collab. Oh, Aries also streaming. I wouldn't want to raid Aries. She's too big right now. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. We'll just float on over to Mao's stream right now.